Howdy, howdy, everyone. Here we are. I'm going to let you enjoy some of today's views. I'm down in the Connecticut River. Oh, I got a mosquito going after me. Hang on. Gotta kill that little bugger. That's the last thing I need is mosquito bite. So we're back, and I will flop over the camera so you can have an enjoyable view of the Connecticut River while I talk tonight. It's late in the afternoon, so actually almost early evening, right? So you know what? It's going to be pretty quiet here. How great is that? And I'll give you a nice view while we talk about the third agreement of the four. And the third agreement another tough one. Third agreement is don't make assumptions. How easy is that? Not. I don't think it is anyway. Don't make assumptions. So that's assuming somebody made some decision and you don't know that that's true or not unless you ask a lot of questions, right? So don't make assumptions pretty much obviously is pretty self-explanatory, but what's the reasoning behind it is, let's say somebody does something and you don't particularly care for it. You probably made an assumption about what it is that they were thinking that made them do that, right? But sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong about those kind of things. So not making assumptions means you don't get drawn into blaming others for things that happen. And making assumptions also, well, you know that old saying, if you take the word apart, making assumptions, assume is making an ass out of you and me. You probably heard that one too, right? Or maybe you haven't. Maybe that's a new one to you. Anyways, assume. And how easy is it to assume the worst when somebody does something you don't like, that you're not crazy about, that maybe harms you, causes you grief, turns your life upside down. And it's probably pretty easy at that point to make an assumption that they did it on purpose, they knew what they were doing, all the negative, normal, jump to the conclusions that can happen. I've done it. I'm sure you've done it. Everybody's probably done it. So not like it's not a human characteristic. It pretty much is. Everybody does it at some point in their life. And what would it be like if you didn't make assumptions about what other people did or said or how they behaved? And it kind of goes a little bit with what we talked about yesterday, but I think about it in terms of that, it can make your life miserable if you just always assume that somebody's doing something or they're out to get you, playing that victim role. So the main reasons for all these four agreements is to make your life happier. So in order to make your life happier or better or more successful in regards to having some peace and serenity or just having a good day, let's say. It's important to not get caught up in that. So I think that's one of the reasons for this particular agreement. These are, by the way, are agreements you make with yourself. You don't have to tell anybody about them. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to announce it to the world. You can just decide that I'm going to try my best to live within these agreements, kind of like a pact with yourself about how you want to look at the world. And a lot of suffering comes from not looking at the world from a viewpoint where you're not a victim and you're not always blaming other people. It's real easy to be happy if you're not blaming people. It's real easy to be happy if you're not making assumptions that they're going after you or that, they did something on purpose. And you know what? Even if they did, it still happened. But your attitude is determined by what you do then. what you do next, and not making an assumption on it might be as easy as saying, hey, what's going on here? Why'd you do that? Or ask a few questions about why somebody did something. And a lot of people do have a conversation, come to find out they had a good reason for it. Now you understand it better. Boom, all of a sudden you're not mad anymore, or you're not upset with them anymore, because now you understand what it was that they were trying to accomplish. So a lot of times that does happen, and it's easy to resolve it. Simply ask a question or two. Get to the bottom of it, so to speak. Get to a reasoning that makes sense for you and them, and that makes all the difference in the world. You're then repairing that relationship with that person, and that's always a good thing. So it's nice to be in harmony with others. It's nice to have people in your life that you get along with them, and that there isn't conflict every time you connect with them. And I think that's one of the biggest things about this one, without making assumptions about what they're doing or what they're up to, and how it may or may not affect you. But certainly if it's something that's affecting you, you want to maybe get some clarity on it. And the best way really is to ask questions, and ask to listen, not to talk next. So that's a hard one. I don't always do that. I don't always ask to listen. I want to ask the next question as soon as they answer the first one. But I know that it does make my life a whole lot better if I can manage to do that, and manage to kind of get to the bottom of what it is that happened. So for me, it's a hard one too. I think none of them are easy. If they were, everybody would do it, and we'd have a happy, loving place on the planet, right? And I don't think we do. There's a lot of discord. There's a lot of people believing what they believe, and if you don't believe what they believe, then they're not going to be friends with you anymore. That kind of stuff is happening a lot of the time, which, quite frankly, I don't get, but it's okay. It's how they want to do it. It's okay. Hey, Phil. Hey, Kara. Hi, Barb. Hey, Jim. When somebody doesn't believe something that you believe, that doesn't make either one of you necessarily wrong. You can have a different belief with somebody and still be their friend, and still, have friends that believe other things than you do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, why is that such a bad thing? It seems like in the last few years, it's just all of a sudden, it's like, if you don't believe what I believe, then I'm not going to be your friend anymore. Like, I don't get that. What's wrong with differing opinions? And I've said it before, how boring would the world be if everybody was the same all the time? Oh, you call them snowflakes? That's what it is, huh? So maybe there's a lot of snowflakes out there. And here it is summer. How could that be, huh? Anyways, you're funny. But I just see it as, you know what? People believe whatever they want to believe. Maybe they get some new information and they want to believe something different. They're perfectly okay to do that. Like, why can't you change your mind? Why can't you believe something different than you did like 2 years ago? As you mature and get new information, then you want to kind of just maybe change your mind about how something looks to you. There's nothing wrong with that. You always have the option to change your mind about anything you believe. Just because you believe something when you were 10 doesn't mean you believe the same thing when you're 40, And I think that's a really good way to even look at it. Is like you always have choices about what you believe based on perhaps new information. So when new information comes my way, I'm willing to take a look at it. I don't have a closed mind about that new information. But I know one thing, screaming and yelling at me about it probably isn't going to get me to listen to you, or demanding that I believe what you believe so that we can still be friends doesn't work for me either, because it just doesn't work. I believe in people being exactly who they want to be, and I can accept you just the way you are. It's okay. And even if I don't like some of the things you believe in, that doesn't mean we can't still be friends. I'm sure there's still plenty of common ground. And I think that's the thing that sometimes is missing. There's a lot of common ground missing now. The, the reality is we have a lot of people who are more alike than not alike, and yet the parts that are quote unquote not the same and different and not alike are the parts that people disagree with, and then all of a sudden, boom, they can't be friends with you anymore. Um, that's pretty sad, really, when you think about it. And there's no reason for that anymore, but it still happens. I see it all the time. It's unfortunate, but I do see it. So let's go with, this third agreement of not making assumptions about anything. Oh, here we go. We got a boat coming by. Can you see it way over there? Let's see if I can get you guys in further. Hold on. They're just putting along. There's a whole bunch of people on board. Sorry, it's a little shaky right there. Hanging their feet off the front of the bow and putzing through. Whoops, there we go. Putzing through the no wake zone. We're in the marina, is always pretty much a no wake zone. All right, I got to bring it back to a little further out, otherwise it's gonna, if you're looking, it's gonna drive you crazy. try to keep it steady here. There we go. So it's a beautiful day today. Started out kind of ick, and got better and better. I got a little muggy for a while there. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it's getting muggy already, but it is. So, oh well, what are you gonna do? Summer's gonna be coming here pretty soon. And a lot of kingfisher birds flying around here. I don't know if you can hear them. Usually what we hear is, I don't know if you can see them up there. We've got all the masts, and they always make a lot of noise. It's actually kind of nice when we sleep down here at a marina. I enjoy the water going by and the waves, little ripples. Super, super cool. So, might as well enjoy every day, right? That's what it's all about. And I think too, when you're making assumptions about what other people are, maybe a good thing to do is, instead of don't make assumptions, make great assumptions of them. Make assumptions of that they're doing really great stuff. Maybe that's a good idea, instead of just saying, oh, they're go to the negative side. I think that's pretty much what he's talking about with this one, is don't make assumptions, meaning don't assume that they're the worst in this scenario. And why not look for the best in people? And you know what? Sometimes people live up to what you believe about them, because I'll tell you one thing, a lot of people are not heard and are not honored for just being who they are. And I think that makes it more difficult to then be who they are for them. And I think the more people can just honor people as they are, it makes it a lot easier for them to be who they truly are meant to be. So let's make an assumption they're doing something really great. Let's make an assumption that, let's assume they really want to do something fantastic, and it's going to make a better world for all of us. There's people in this world who one person has made a huge, hey Crystal, saw your sister Amber yesterday on here. Was thinking about your mom today. God, I miss her. I'm sure you do too, and even more so. But I think when you can make an assumption or assume that somebody's doing a really good thing, then there are people in this world that truly that one person can make such a huge difference. And that could be you. There's no reason why it can't be you. And a lot of the time, people like Gandhi, people like Mother Teresa, there's people who have, one person made a decision to do something, and then more people followed, and then more people followed. So, that can happen literally to anybody. Like, why can't it be you? It can be. If you have something that you're passionate about, follow that passion. do something really great, or do something in small doses that turns into something really great, because that's usually how it works. It's not like you do something great, boom, off the bat. It takes time. And thank you. It is a beautiful river, isn't it? Yeah, this is the Connecticut River, dear. My friend Crystal's on. Actually, she's way out in Vancouver, British Columbia. So welcome to the Canadians. And I think, when one person decides to make something different in their life, then a lot of times other people will resonate with that idea or that passion or that focus of what they want to do, and then they'll join in. And then before you know it, you've got something that's really made a difference for hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. And that's kind of how those things happen. They start with one person who has an idea to do something. So why don't we use that idea today, and let's assume that people want to do something really fantastic and really great. And if they don't, again, ask the questions, find out where they're at, why they made that decision, and maybe help them to make a better decision. Maybe they just don't have enough information. Not that you're trying to sway them or turn them into you. You're just looking to, gather information and maybe throw a couple of our brainstorming ideas out there. So I think sometimes that's a really cool thing to do with somebody. And I personally love doing that. It's fun for me. Brainstorming some crazy ideas, Sometimes it happens and something comes out of that you never expected. And a lot of times people can make a big change in the world by doing that. So that's agreement number 3 of 4 is don't make assumptions. So I will be back here tomorrow night, and I'll probably be right here on the river again. And I'm hoping to get my boat in tomorrow. It's going to go in one of these docks over here. Let's see if I can get this camera to go not crazy. Oh, it's really, there's a bunch of open slips here. So I'm hoping everything goes well. And I'm already on the list, but I'm number 5, so I don't know what that means. We'll see what happens. But if I do go in tomorrow night, I'll be on around this, well, maybe a little earlier. Hopefully it's earlier if I'm in. And I'll pop on, and I'll show you a little bit more of the Connecticut River tomorrow night. Hopefully it's just as nice an evening as it is right now. And we've got a little bit of I don't know if you can even see that, a little tiny sliver of a moon up there. It's not much. But the sun is starting to go down, but ever so slowly, of course. And guess I'll sign off in the usual manner. The sun is always shining. It is right now. It's always got your back, just like your higher power does, just like whatever you use as your infinite intelligence, creator, higher power, being beyond yourself. That's taking good care of you, just like the sun takes care of us. So, signing off for tonight. Love you guys, and see you tomorrow night. Bye for now.